The revolving doors of Hale Tower spit out the morning rain like a sigh. Umbrellas knocked. Shoes squeaked on marble. Cameras flashed at the golden elevators. Everyone moved fast, except one woman clutching a plastic folder to her chest. Evelyn. Her coat was thin. Her hair was wet. Her knuckles were white around that folder, as if it held air. "Please," she whispered to the desk. "Please, I need Mr. Hale. My daughter, Sophia. She doesn't have time." Security glanced at one another. Polite faces. Firm voices. "I'm sorry, ma'am. No walk-ins. You can email." She didn't hear the rest. She heard only the rain and the memory of Sophia's breath. Tight, shallow, like a bird trapped under glass. The elevator chimed. A small entourage stepped out. Dark suits, darker umbrellas, the ripple effect that follows power. In the center, Robert Hale, the billionaire, the face from magazines. Calm suit, calm eyes, a watch that could pay a mortgage. Evelyn did something she didn't plan. She ran. Not fast, just brave. Through the velvet ropes, past the polished smiles. Her voice broke in the hall like a glass. "Please save my daughter." Everything stopped. An intake of breath across 100 throats. Even the rain at the doors seemed to hush. A tall man in the entourage, the one with the kind eyes, Michael, stepped forward, palms raised. "Ma'am, it's okay. Let's talk." But Evelyn didn't look away from Robert. She lifted the folder like a flare. "She's 6, she said, words tumbling. "Sophia. She needs surgery. The foundation, your foundation, denied us because I don't have a permanent address. I'm not asking for charity. I'm asking for time." Robert's gaze didn't flinch. He took the folder. The plastic crackled. Paper edges were frayed from too much hope. He skimmed the letter. The denial stamp was red. The reason was small. No permanent residence. The lobby breathed again. Phones rose. Someone whispered, "Is this a stunt?" Someone else, "She's shaking." The marble floor cold. The air too bright. Robert looked up. "What's your name?" he asked. "Evelyn Brooks." "And your daughter?" "Sophia. She likes stars. She thinks glow-in-the-dark stickers are magic." Her voice wavered. "She thinks that means night is just a room with the lights off." Tiny silence. "Beat. Come with me," Robert said. Michael moved. An assistant protested. "Sir, you're bored." "Can wait," Robert replied. "This cannot." He guided Evelyn to a private elevator. Cameras lifted higher. The doors slid shut on a corridor of curious eyes and quiet judgments. Inside, the elevator hummed. Rain blurred the city through the glass shaft. Robert held the folder. "Why me?" Evelyn swallowed. "Because you can do in 10 minutes what I've tried to do for 10 months. He didn't smile. He didn't promise either. He pressed the top floor. "Tell me everything," he said. The numbers climbed. Long, quiet beat. And then the elevator pinged on an answer none of them had yet heard. What was in that folder that made a billionaire stop his entire morning? Robert's office had walls of glass and clouds for neighbors. The city lay below like a map of stubborn stars. On a low table, a silver tray steamed with untouched coffee. Robert waved the staff out and sat opposite Evelyn. "Start from the beginning," he said, voice quiet, controlled. Evelyn nodded. She placed the folder between them, then kept her hand on it, like a parent at the edge of a pool. "Sophia was born early," she said. "Tiny but loud." The nurses laughed, said she had a fighter's lungs. 2 months ago, she started getting tired. Not just school tired. Stare tired. Laugh tired. Then one night her lips went blue. Robert's jaw tightened. "Which hospital?" "St. Mercy Children's. Dr. John Patel." Her eyes found his. "He says she needs a complex repair. Not tomorrow. Now." He gave me 72 hours before the risk gets too high. "How many hours left?" Evelyn breathed out. 31. The room cooled. She continued, voice steadying as she told the story she'd told a dozen desks. The insurance that lapsed when her last temp job ended. The denial for a technicality. The foundations that required tax returns she didn't have, letters she couldn't get, addresses she'd lost when the shelter closed. "And your foundation?" Robert asked, tapping the stamped letter. "They said no permanent address means no grant." She swallowed. "I live out of bags, but my daughter lives in my arms. Isn't that an address?" Beat. Michael shifted near the window, anger coiling in his posture. Robert stared at the stamp like it had embarrassed him personally. "We'll fix the policy," he said softly. "But right now, logistics." He hit a button. "Get me Dr. John Patel at St. Mercy. Tell him it's urgent." The speakerphone clicked and rang. Evelyn twisted the strap of her bag. She could feel the clock ticking inside her chest, each second like a heel on a step. "Patel," a voice answered, warm but tired. "Doctor, it's Robert Hale," Robert said. "I have Evelyn Brooks here. Her daughter, Sophia." "Yes." Dr. Patel cut in gently. "I know Sophia. What stands between her and the or?" "Two things," Patel replied. "An open slot and a surgical team fresh enough to do 7 hours safely. We're full. Another child's surgery ran long. Also," his voice lowered, "Sophia's case is delicate. We need the hybrid suite. It's booked for a vascular VIP this afternoon. I've been trying to negotiate." Evelyn closed her eyes. She pictured the hybrid suite. White lights, clean beeps, the room where miracles clocked in. Robert's tone didn't rise. "What if the suite opened?" "Then we go," Patel said, hope threading through the words. "But there's consent. Pre-op labs. Blood. We'd need to move like a hurricane." "Hurricanes are just organized wind," Robert said. "I can organize." He ended the call, then dialed again. "Emma? It's Robert. I need something from the board. Now." "Emma?" Evelyn repeated, nerves fraying. "Is she a doctor?" "Worse," Michael said with a half-smile. "She's our fixer." The door opened as if on cue, and Emma strode in, short hair, sharp eyes, a notebook that looked like it had fought dragons. "Tell me." Robert's voice was a scalpel. Precise. "Clear the hybrid suite at St. Mercy by 2 p.m. today. Reassign the VIP case. Arrange helicopter transport if needed. No paperwork bounces. I'll cover all costs. If anyone says no, I want the reason and the person." Emma scribbled, already texting. "On it." Evelyn watched this machine spin up, a ballet of power she'd only seen on screens. She felt small. She felt hopeful anyway. Outside, the rain lightened. A patch of pale sun touched the glass. Robert turned back to her. "Sophia, what does she love?" "Glow stars," Evelyn said, smiling through the ache. "And questions. She asks why the moon follows the car." "It's loyal," Robert said softly. "Like some people." "Beat." He stood. "Let's go get your girl ready." They moved fast. The elevator swallowed them again. The city dropped away. Sirens somewhere far below curled into the day. On the ride down, Evelyn whispered, "Do you think we're too late?" Robert stared at his reflection in the mirrored doors, and for a second he didn't see a billionaire. He saw a boy in a thrift store coat, waiting outside a clinic with his mother. "I think," he said, "we're right on time." The doors slid open to a new rush of air. What will they find when they reach St. Mercy? An open door? Or a wall that money can't move? The hospital smelled like lemon cleaner and courage. Fluorescent lights buzzed with tired pep talks. Wheelchairs whispered over tiles. Somewhere, a vending machine groaned like an old man. Evelyn held her breath as they pushed through pediatric cardiology. Posters of cartoon hearts smiled too brightly. Nurses in soft shoes moved like practiced kindness. "Evelyn," a familiar voice. Dr. John Patel approached with a quick, gentle energy. He took Evelyn's hands. "We're prepping a plan B if the suite stays blocked. But..." He glanced at Robert and Michael, then at Emma, who was already talking to the charge nurse. "Maybe today's the day we don't need plan B." He led them to a cubicle. Under warm lights, Sophia lay curled, lashes dark on her cheeks, wires like silly spaghetti making a nest over her blanket. Her small chest rose, fell, rose, hesitated, rose again. "Baby," Evelyn whispered, pushing hair from her daughter's forehead. "I brought stars." From her bag she took a sheet of glow-in-the-dark stickers. Little moons, smiley constellations. She pressed one to Sophia's palm. "For bravery." Sophia stirred, opened her eyes. They were too big on her small face. "Hi, Mama." "Hi, Star." Sophia saw Robert. "Are you a doctor?" He shook his head. "I'm a helper." She considered this, then nodded, satisfied. "Helpers are good." Beat. Emma appeared, voice low, efficient. "Update. The hybrid suite is held by a non-urgent vascular procedure for a private client at 3. I spoke with admin. They said the schedule is locked by board policy. I asked for the policy author's name. She handed Robert her phone. On the screen, a PDF. The policy's author, Robert Hale. A quiet detonated inside him. He cleared his throat. "Call the CO. Patch me in. Now." Minutes later, a conference room speaker hissed alive. "Robert, what's the urgency?" The CO sounded cautious, expensive. "Section 4.2 VIP prioritization," Robert said. "Suspend it today. Open the hybrid suite at 2 p.m. for Dr. Patel's patient, Sophia Brooks." "Robert, you wrote that policy to keep donors engaged. And I'm rewriting it to keep children alive," he said. "Are we confused about priorities?" Silence braided through the line. Paper rustled. "Understood," the CO finally said. "Suite is yours at 2. Emma's pen stopped moving. Michael exhaled like he'd been holding his breath since the lobby. Dr. Patel smiled at Evelyn, then turned to the nurse station. "Pre-op labs. Crossmatch. Consent. Let's move." Everything accelerated. Wristband. Ink pen. Blood vials filling like hourglasses. Evelyn signed her name, letters shaky but brave. When the forms ended, the waiting began. Quiet. The clock on the wall made loud, smug clicks. The room hummed with monitors. Somewhere a child laughed at a cartoon. Somewhere else, a mother cried into her sleeve. "Evelyn," Robert said softly, breaking the heavy air. "You're not alone. Not today." She nodded. "Thank you." He glanced at Sophia, at the little glow star peeling on her palm. "My mother used to put stars on our ceiling," he said. "We'd lie there in the dark and pretend we were falling up." Evelyn's face shifted. "What song did she sing when you were sick?" His mouth twitched. "How do you know she sang?" "All mothers sing," she replied, and began, almost without thinking, a soft tune. A simple line. 3 notes that rose, floated, rested. It was an old lullaby you don't know that you know, until you hear it again and it breaks you quietly open. Robert went absolutely still. He turned. "That song. Where did you learn it?" Evelyn's eyes dropped to her hands. "A soup kitchen in Riverbend. I was little. A woman with red hair taught me while we waited for hot chocolate." She smiled faintly. "She said songs glue the sky together." Robert's throat worked. "My mother had red hair." The room pulled in close around that sentence. Beat. Longer. An orderly appeared at the curtain. "We're ready for pre-op transport." Dr. Patel squeezed Evelyn's shoulder. "Time to be brave." Evelyn kissed her daughter's forehead. "Magic star time, baby." Sophia nodded like a warrior. "Helpers are ready?" "Helpers are ready," Robert said. They began to wheel the bed away. The world narrowed to squeaky wheels, a soft lullaby, and the sound of a billionaire's breath catching on a memory that suddenly had a name. Why did a lullaby from a soup kitchen in Riverbend tie Roberts pass to Evelyn's present? And what secret would the hospital lights reveal? Storm clouds stacked over the city as if someone kept hitting copy. Thunder rolled lazy and mean. The hospital dimmed, backup lights glowing like patience. In pre-op, nurses worked with the efficiency of people who do hard things kindly. Emma stood just outside, phone at her ear, juggling permissions like knives. Michael coordinated logistics with the calm of a man who has been the first call on terrible days. Robert waited with Evelyn by the swinging doors. He looked like a man in a suit. He felt like a boy holding a chipped mug at his mother's elbow. "You grew up in Riverbend?" Evelyn asked gently. He nodded. 1 street, 3 jobs, 4 jackets between 2 people. My mother kept promises we couldn't afford. She volunteered at the soup kitchen every Thursday. She sang that song for scared kids. And for me, Evelyn's eyes warmed. She taught me to stir the soup till it shimmered. She told me, "Little one, you will light your own house someday." I never knew her name. Margaret, Robert said, and something in his face softened on the syllables. Margaret Hale. Evelyn blinked. Hale? Yeah. He looked past the doors, as if his mother might walk out with a ladle. She died when I was 19. A clinic queue too long. A ride we couldn't catch. I promised I'd build a life where no one would wait because of a line or a rule. He held up the denial letter. And then I wrote a rule. For donors. For optics. For a neat calendar. I forgot a boy on a plastic chair. Silence. A nurse stepped through. We're rolling to the hybrid suite in 2. Time to say, see you soon. Evelyn leaned over Sophia. Kissed her nose. I'll be right here when you wake. Sophia, brave eyes a little scared now, asked Robert. Helpers come to the door? All the way to the door, he promised. They walked. Doors whooshed open on a room that looked like the future. Lights. Machines. Dr. Patel scrubbed at the sink, nodding with his eyes. Nurses checked, double-checked, triple-checked. The anesthesiologist murmured soft things. Mrs. Brooks, Dr. Patel said, eyes kind above his mask. We're going to take good care of Sophia. I'll see you on the other side of 7 hours. 7 hours is a mountain you have to climb in your head before your body can do it. They swung the doors closed. Beat. Evelyn sank into a chair. Robert stood. He didn't know what to do with his hands, so he folded them, the way you do when you're asking for something for the first time in a long time. Then the storm hit. A crack. Lights flickered. The building hiccuped. Generators coughed to life, steadied. Then, another lightning punch, stumbled. The hallway dimmed to a pale, stubborn glow. Emma swore under her breath. Michael was already moving. I'm going to facilities. Go, Robert said. He turned to the desk. What do you need? Nothing from you, the charge nurse replied, voice professional, strained. Everything's on backup. We train for this. But fear ran through the floor like a ripple. Everyone felt it. Even the coffee cups did. Evelyn's hands trembled. What happens if the power? It won't, Robert said, but his eyes were on the door, as if he will light into the room with money. Minutes stretched. Rain beat the windows like fingers asking to be let in. The clock crawled. After a while, a small sound rose from the corner. A hum, hesitant, then round, then whole. Evelyn. The lullaby. It braided through the hallway. Nurse's shoulders lowered. A father down the hall closed his eyes. The storm had to lean closer to hear. Robert listened, and for a second he was 19 again. Rain in his sneakers, a bowl of soup too hot and too perfect to eat fast. Michael returned with a thumbs up. Generators stable. Surge shields reset. Oars are green. Robert exhaled. He didn't realize he'd been holding more than breath. He'd been holding the version of himself that wrote neat policies and forgot kids with glow stars. Hours moved like wet rope. Emma brought tea that nobody drank. Michael cracked a bad joke that everyone pretended was good. The clock finally dragged a hand over the top of the hour. The doors opened. Dr. Patel stepped into the hallway, mask hanging loose, eyes tired, bright. He looked at Evelyn, then at Robert, then he smiled. Beat. Ask me how it went, he said, voice a whisper full of light. Did Sophia truly make it through? And if she did, what promise would be demanded on the other side? She's stable, Dr. Patel said, like a blessing. The repair went beautifully. We'll watch her closely tonight. Her heart, he smiled at Evelyn, is as brave as she is. Evelyn didn't realize she was crying until she tasted salt. She laughed and sobbed all at once. Robert found her hand, and for once, didn't mind that the cameras might see. Can I see her? She asked. In a few minutes, Dr. Patel said. Let her settle. Then yes. Soft, Grateful silence. When they finally entered the ICU, Sophia lay under a gentle forest of beeps and soft lights. She looked small, yes, but also large in the way survivors do. Strong in the way sleeping mountains are. Evelyn touched her daughter's hand. Magic star worked. Sophia's eyelids fluttered. She didn't wake. She didn't need to yet. Robert stood at the foot of the bed. He took a breath that reorganized his life. He turned to Evelyn. "I owe you an apology." "You saved my daughter," she replied, startled. "What could you possibly?" "I wrote that policy." He glanced at Emma, then back. "To prioritize donors. To make calendars behave. To make executives nod. I made a system that would have made 19-year-old me wait in a hallway while someone with a better wallet went first." Evelyn studied him. "And today you rewrote it." "Today I erased it," he said. "Tomorrow I replace it." He pulled out his phone and hit the record button. Not the glossy kind for press releases. The messy kind that turns on your front camera and shows your tired eyes. "This is for our board, our hospital partners, and anyone who's listening," he said. "I authored Section 4.2 VIP prioritization. Effective immediately, it's suspended. By Monday, it's gone. In its place, the Sophia Standard." He looked at Sophia, then at the phone. "No child will wait behind a donor. No family will be denied for not having an address. No permanent residence is not a reason. It's a result. And we will treat causes, not punish symptoms. The Hale Foundation will backstop hospitals that adopt this. I will personally fund a no-questions-asked bridge grant for families in the 30-day window where paperwork is a wall. We will measure success by seconds saved." Emma's eyes gleamed. She was already drafting language, but this was better than any draft. It was human. Michael crossed his arms, a little smile tucked away. "You're going to make a lot of powerful people very grumpy." "Good," Robert said. He ended the recording. He looked at Evelyn. "But it can't stop at policy. Where are you staying?" She hesitated. "A shelter on 17th. They said we had to leave next week because the building got sold." Robert's mouth pressed thin. "To me." Her eyes widened. "I was going to build luxury condos," he continued. "I told myself it would revitalize the block. I didn't go see who already lived on that block." He put his phone away. "The sale closes tomorrow, and then we'll revitalize it for real. Family suites for hospital parents. A kitchen that smells like soup on Thursdays. A clinic on the ground floor. Music on Sundays. We'll call it the Margaret House. If that's okay." Evelyn covered her mouth. Her nod was a prayer. Dr. Patel peeked in again, voice warm. "She's doing beautifully. Talk to her. She'll hear you." Evelyn leaned in close. "Hey, star girl. The moon still follows our car." Sophia's fingers twitched. Tiny wave. "Helpers?" she murmured, barely audible. "All around you," Robert said. "Quiet. The kind that heals." Days blurred into the soft blue of hospital mornings. By Friday, Sophia sat up, glow-star bandage wrapped around her thumb like a victory ribbon. She made her stuffed bear a name tag, Dr. Teddy Patel. The nurses pretended to write him into the schedule. Outside, reporters gathered like crows, hungry for spectacle. Robert went out to them once. He didn't stand on a podium. He stood on the curb in the drizzle, hair damp, voice steady. "I am a powerful man," he said, "and I used that power to write a rule that favored me. Today I'm using it to undo that rule. If you want a headline, write this: we don't measure greatness by who skips the line. We measure it by who removes the rope." A week later, the Margaret House opened its doors with more casseroles than speeches. Evelyn accepted a job there, community liaison. Title fancy, work humble. She welcomed mothers who spoke in whispers. She learned to love clipboards. She taped a glow-in-the-dark moon over every crib. On the first Thursday supper, Emma ladled soup. Michael installed a bookshelf. Dr. Patel read a picture book very badly, and the children loved him anyway. Robert stood in the doorway and listened. Evelyn began the lullaby. Others joined in off-key and perfect. Robert closed his eyes, and for the first time since 19, The sky felt glued together again. Later that night, he walked the hallway and paused at a corkboard. He pinned up a new page titled The Sophia Standard. Bullet points. Phone numbers. A bold first line. If you don't have an address, start here. Evelyn stepped beside him. You did this, she said. He shook his head. You did. You asked for help in a room designed to say no. You reminded me why I wanted to build anything at all. She glanced toward the sleep room where Sophia dreamed under a ceiling of fake stars. We did it together. He smiled. That's the only way the good stuff happens. Beat. Outside, the rain finally stopped. The city smelled new. If you had the power to change one unfair rule today, at work, at school, in your city, what would you change first and why? Share your answer below. Your idea might be the one someone with power reads next.